What if the difference between a struggling founder and a thriving one wasn't talent, funding, or luck, but a 10-minute daily ritual most overlook? Top founders don't just set goals, they review them relentlessly, reflectively, and emotionally, not as a to do checkbox, but as a compass reset. Each week, they ask, are we still solving the right problem? Is this metric still the signal, or just noise? When the world shifts, goal review is how they pivot without panic. But data alone isn't enough. That's where visualization enters, not wishful thinking, but mental rehearsal. Elite performers across fields use it. Surgeons imagine incisions. Athletes run races in their minds. Founders do the same. They close their eyes and see the user smile when the product solves their pain. They hear the investor say yes, not out of fantasy, but to rehearse composure, clarity, and conviction. Neuroscience confirms it. Vivid mental simulation strengthens neural pathways, making real world execution feel familiar, not foreign. The key? Specificity. Not, I want to succeed. But in 6 months, our AI tool helps 10,000 teachers save 5 hours per week. Here's how the dashboard looks, how the onboarding flows, how the thank you emails read. The richer the detail, the more the subconscious aligns effort with outcome. Pair review with visualization, and you create a feedback loop. Goals ground you in reality. Visualization pulls you toward possibility. One keeps you accountable. The other keeps you inspired, especially when metrics dip and doubt creeps in. This isn't mysticism, it's cognitive engineering. Founders who master it don't just endure uncertainty, they navigate it with quiet confidence. Because when you've already lived the success in your mind, building it in the world becomes less about hope and more about follow through. If this small habit shift could anchor your journey, please subscribe, like, and share with a builder who's playing the long game. Tap the bell icon so you never miss our latest videos on innovation, AI, and the daily disciplines behind extraordinary impact. What if your most strategic move as a founder wasn't a pitch, a hire, or a product launch, but simply showing up before the world wakes up? The most consistent high performers don't rely on motivation. They claim the first 60 to 90 minutes of the day before Slack pings, emails flood in, or meetings fracture focus. This isn't about waking at 4 a.m. to hustle harder. It's about protecting cognitive sovereignty, where in silence, the mind isn't reacting, it's creating. During this window, elite founders prioritize deep work, writing product specifications, sketching long term roadmaps, or studying competitors without distraction. Others use this time for reflection, journaling lessons from yesterday, clarifying today's one priority, or reviewing their North Star metric. There's no multitasking, no justification, just intentional presence, allowing for profound insights and strategic planning. Science backs this. Willpower is highest in the morning before decision fatigue sets in, making it the optimal time for critical tasks. The brain's default mode network, responsible for insight, connection, and big picture thinking, thrives in calm, uninterrupted stillness. That's where breakthroughs hide, not in back to back Zooms, but in the quiet moments of focused thought and reflection. And it's not rigid. Some founders meditate, some walk, and some read philosophy or old user interviews. The ritual varies, but the principle is universal. Design your day before it designs you, taking control of your most valuable hours. In the AI era, where noise is algorithmically amplified, this habit is a superpower, allowing you to cut through distractions. It's how you stay aligned with your vision when trends scream for attention, leading with clarity, not reactivity. You don't need more hours, you need better first hours, optimizing your peak cognitive performance. If this resonated and reminded you that founder success is built in moments, not marathons, please subscribe, like, and share. Tap the bell icon so you never miss our latest videos on innovation, AI, and the quiet habits behind extraordinary impact. What if the most scalable advantage a founder could build wasn't just about code, but something far more fundamental? Curated cognition. Successful founders don't merely read more, they read differently. Their approach to information is a strategic asset. They treat their attention like venture capital, allocating it with discipline rather than spending it on impulse. In an age of infinite content, this intentional reading is their shield against mental bloat, keeping them strategically sharp and focused. Their reading begins with a clear purpose. What do I need to understand this quarter? They prioritize relevance over fleeting trends. For instance, a founder in AI ethics might delve into the philosophy of autonomy, not to impress, but to proactively anticipate regulatory friction. Similarly, a hardware builder studies materials science papers, not for jargon, but to identify cost saving substitutions that competitors often overlook. They curate ruthlessly. 1 hour a week scanning trusted newsletters, expert threads, or peer recommendations beats 8 hours of doom scrolling. Many keep a stop list, books or sources they won't read again, because time reclaimed is energy redirected. They engage actively, marginalia, voice notes, or a private wiki to connect ideas across domains. That neuroscience paper, linked to a UX insight, a logistics case study, applied to their SaaS onboarding flow. Knowledge isn't stored, it's synthesized. And they protect depth. Audiobooks at 2x for updates. But real books, printed, slow, annotated, for frameworks that compound. As one founder puts it, I skim to stay aware. I read deeply to stay ahead. This dual approach ensures both breadth and profound understanding. In AI, where models ingest everything but understand little, human sense making is the ultimate edge. Intentional reading builds the mental models no prompt can generate. It's how founders spot second order effects, ask better questions, and lead with wisdom, not just data. The goal isn't to know everything, it's to understand what matters before it becomes obvious. If this reframed reading as a strategic superpower, not a hobby, please subscribe, like, and share with a builder who values depth in a distracted world. Tap the bell icon so you never miss our latest videos on innovation, AI, and the quiet habits that shape extraordinary founders.
What if your next breakthrough idea didn't come in a conference room, but on a sidewalk, mid-stride, while talking with your co-founder? Top founders aren't rejecting meetings. They're redesigning them by taking them out of chairs. Walking or standing meetings aren't a wellness trend. They're a cognitive upgrade. Neuroscience shows movement boosts blood flow to the prefrontal cortex, the brain's hub for creativity, problem solving, and executive function. Sitting for hours? It dulls. Moving? It sharpens. Walking meetings naturally limit time and force focus. No one schedules a 90-minute stroll. Most cap at 20 to 30 minutes, trimming fluff and anchoring conversation to one clear objective. Decide on the beta launch date, or align on hiring priorities. Urgency replaces inertia, and something subtle happens when you walk side by side. Hierarchy dissolves. The power dynamic of desk versus guest chair vanishes. People speak more openly, especially junior team members or quiet thinkers. Ideas flow laterally, not top-down. One founder credits a 15-minute walk with her CTO for pivoting their AI model architecture after 3 stalled Zooms. Standing meetings indoors work similarly. No chairs equals no settling in. Energy stays high. Decisions accelerate. Teams report 40% faster alignment on action items. Bonus: physical movement reduces stress hormones. After a tough conversation, a walk helps metabolize tension, so you return calmer, clearer, and more connected. In fast-moving startups, especially in AI, where ambiguity is constant, this habit builds adaptive clarity, the ability to think, decide, and reconnect all in motion. You don't need a whiteboard. Sometimes you just need pavement and presence. If this simple shift could transform how your team thinks, decides, and connects, please subscribe, like, and share with a leader ready to replace exhaustion with momentum. Tap the bell icon so you never miss our latest videos on innovation, AI, and the small, science-backed habits that shape extraordinary founders.
What if the most powerful tool in a founder's high stakes arsenal wasn't a pitch deck or growth hack, but 10 minutes of silence, twice a day? Meditation and breath work aren't spiritual luxuries. For elite founders, they're operational infrastructure, like server uptime or unit economics. Under pressure, the untrained mind defaults to threat detection, overreacting to noise, catastrophizing setbacks, conflating urgency with importance. Meditation rewires that reflex. It builds the neural pause button, so when a key engineer quits or a launch stumbles, the response is assess, not panic. Breathwork, in particular, is a physiological reset. Just 4 to 6 cycles of box breathing lowers cortisol, steadies heart rate variability, and restores prefrontal function within 90 seconds. Founders use it before investor calls, after tough feedback, or mid crisis to reclaim agency over their nervous system. Research shows consistent practice sharpens focus, reduces decision fatigue, and improves emotional regulation, critical when leading teams through ambiguity. One AI startup CEO starts every board meeting with 2 minutes of collective breath work. Not for vibes, to ensure clarity, not reactivity, shapes the conversation. And it doesn't require hours. 5 minutes upon waking, 3 minutes before a high stakes call, a mindful walk, feeling each step, each breath counts. Consistency beats duration. In a field where AI moves at lightning speed, human steadiness becomes the ultimate differentiator. Not the loudest voice in the room, but the most grounded. Because innovation doesn't thrive in chaos, it thrives in calm, clear minds, choosing response over reaction. If this reframed inner work as a founder's strategic advantage, not self indulgence, please subscribe, like, and share with a builder who knows that scaling a company starts with stabilizing the self. Tap the bell icon so you never miss our latest videos on innovation, AI, and the quiet habits that shape extraordinary impact. What if the most overlooked lever of founder success wasn't hustle, but calendar architecture? Top founders don't just use calendars, they design them, like engineers building a system for focus, energy, and leverage. They know if it's not scheduled, it doesn't exist. And if it's scheduled poorly, it drains more than it delivers. They start by auditing time in blocks, not tasks. Deep work, guarded in 90, 120-minute slots aligned with their biological peak. Shallow work, emails, admin, batched into tight windows, never first thing. Meetings, clustered on specific days, protecting Focus Mondays and Maker Wednesdays. One AI founder blocks 2 to 4 p.m. every day for product thinking. No exceptions, no invites. That's where the breakthroughs happen. They also schedule recovery, not as indulgence, but as performance maintenance. A 20-minute walk, a no-screen lunch, a hard stop at 6:30 p.m. Because burnout isn't signaled by collapse, it's signaled by declining judgment, impatience, and shallow decisions. Critically, they treat their calendar as dynamic, not rigid. Every Sunday, they review. Did my time match my priorities last week? Where did energy leak? What needs to shift? Adjustments aren't failures, they're course corrections. And they say no with structure. I can't join that call, but here's a 5 minute loom walking through my thoughts. Or, let's sync in Q3. Here's why. Boundaries aren't built in the moment, they're pre coded into the schedule. In fast moving startups, especially in AI, where context switching kills innovation, strategic scheduling is how founders stay aligned with vision, not just velocity. Your calendar isn't a log of where you've been, it's a blueprint for who you're becoming. If this shifted how you see time, not as a resource to spend, but as architecture to design, please subscribe, like, and share with a builder who's ready to lead with intention, not inertia. Tap the bell icon so you never miss our latest videos on innovation, AI, and the quiet habits that shape extraordinary founders. What if the secret weapon behind a founder's clearest strategy session, boldest decision, or most creative pivot wasn't caffeine, but 20 minutes of stillness? Elite founders don't push through fatigue, they strategically recharge. Science is clear. After 90 to 120 minutes of deep focus, cognitive performance dips. A 10 to 20-minute power nap, or even a mindful break with eyes closed and breath awareness, resets alertness, memory consolidation, and emotional regulation. NASA found pilots improve performance by 34% and alertness by 54% after a 26-minute nap. Founders, they treat micro recovery like server maintenance. Skip it, and systems degrade silently. Mindful breaks, no sleep needed, work just as powerfully. 3 minutes of focused breathing, a short walk without devices, or simply gazing out a window activates the brain's default mode network, the state where insight, connection, and big picture thinking emerge. That aha moment rarely strikes mid email, it strikes in the pause between inputs. The key? Intentionality. Not collapsing on the couch scrolling reels, but designing recovery. A quiet corner with a timer, noise canceling headphones, a do not disturb signal to the team. Some founders set calendar blocks titled cognitive reset or insight window, non negotiable like investor calls. In AI and high stakes tech, where decisions carry massive ripple effects, mental clarity isn't optional. It's risk mitigation. A rested founder spots edge cases, navigates team tensions with empathy, and avoids reactive bets that look smart in exhaustion, but collapse in hindsight. This isn't laziness, it's leverage. Because the best ideas don't come from burnout, they come from brains allowed to breathe. If this reframed rest as a founder's high performance protocol, not guilt, please subscribe, like, and share with a builder who knows that scaling a company requires sustaining the human behind it. Tap the bell icon so you never miss our latest videos on innovation, AI, and the quiet, science backed habits that shape extraordinary impact.
What if the biggest threat to your startup's momentum isn't competition or code debt, but context switching chaos? Top founders don't just manage teams, they manage attention. And one of their highest leverage habits is ruthless communication centralization, replacing fragmented pings, DMs, emails, and voice notes with one source of truth, so energy flows toward building, not decoding. They pick one primary channel for real-time collaboration, Slack, Teams, or even a well-structured Discord, and enforce clear norms. Urgent equals emoji reaction, async equals threaded replies, decisions equals pinned summary. No, hey, did you see my email in Slack and text? Critical updates live in a shared, lightweight wiki, not buried in 47 unread threads. Product specs, roadmap changes, customer insights, all version controlled, searchable, and accessible in seconds. New hires ramp faster. Meetings start with alignment, not catch up. They also batch communication, office hours for ad hoc questions, weekly sync digest instead of daily fire drills, and no internal comms, windows during deep work blocks. One AI startup founder instituted Focus Fridays, 0 meetings, 0 DMs, 0 exceptions. Output jumped 30% in 6 weeks. The result? Fewer misunderstandings, faster decisions, less mental load. Teams spend cognitive bandwidth on problems, not platforms. In fast-moving tech, especially AI, where precision and speed matter, clarity isn't courtesy. It's competitive advantage. Because innovation doesn't happen in notification hell. It happens in calm, coordinated focus, where everyone knows where to look, what's true, and what to do next. If this resonated and reminded you that scaling a company means scaling clarity, not just headcount, please subscribe, like, and share with a builder who's ready to replace chaos with coherence. Tap the bell icon so you never miss our latest videos on innovation, AI, and the quiet habits that shape extraordinary founders.
What if the most underrated leadership superpower wasn't charisma or vision, but gratitude, practiced daily, deliberately, and aloud? Successful founders don't wait for milestones to acknowledge effort. They embed gratitude into the rhythm of work, not as performance praise, but as recognition of humanity. A handwritten note to an engineer who debugged a critical issue at midnight. A public shout out in the team call, not just for results, but for how someone showed up. Neuroscience confirms it. Expressing gratitude releases dopamine and serotonin for both giver and receiver. It builds psychological safety, the bedrock of innovation. Teams that feel seen take smarter risks, admit mistakes faster, and collaborate more openly. In high stakes environments like AI startups, where stress runs high and failure is frequent, gratitude is cultural insulation against burnout and siloing. The way you reframe the user onboarding flow, starting with pain, not features, cut support tickets by 40%. That insight changed everything. That kind of acknowledgement reinforces behavior, not just output. Founders also practice personal gratitude, journaling 3 wins, however small, each week. Not to ignore challenges, but to recalibrate perspective. On tough days, that list becomes an anchor. We shipped the beta. A customer cried tears of relief. Our intern asked a brilliant question. These moments compound into resilience. Gratitude isn't toxic positivity. It's strategic realism, choosing to see what's working so you can grow it. In a world that rewards urgency, it's the quiet habit that sustains momentum, not through pressure, but through connection. Because people don't scale startups, people who feel valued do. If this reminded you that culture isn't built in all hands meetings, but in daily micro moments of recognition, please subscribe, like, and share with a leader who knows that the best technology is built by the most human teams. Tap the bell icon so you never miss our latest videos on innovation, AI, and the quiet habits that shape extraordinary founders. What if the most scalable productivity habit wasn't a fancy AI tool, but a simple, searchable, shareable list? Top founders don't rely on memory, sticky notes, or chaotic desktop folders. They externalize everything into digital lists, not as busy work, but as cognitive offloading. Because the human brain is built for creativity and connection, not for remembering 17 action items, API endpoints, or customer feedback snippets. They use lightweight, cloud sync tools to build living lists. Small Blue Diamond decision logs, why we chose Firebase over self hosted. Small Blue Diamond FAQ for new hires, how we handle P0 incidents. Who approves $5,000 plus spend. Small Blue Diamond Customer Insight Bank, raw quotes, pain patterns, feature requests, tagged and searchable. Small Blue Diamond Idea Backlog, with context, inspired by Dr. Lee's talk on multimodal eval. The magic? These lists become institutional memory. When a key engineer leaves, knowledge doesn't vanish. When a debate resurfaces, the team consults the decision log, not tribal memory. New members ramp in days, not weeks. And yes, even personal to-dos go digital, but with nuance. Tasks include intent, not just action. Draft onboarding email becomes asterisk draft first touch email. Goal, reduce day one drop off. Tone, warm, clear, no jargon. Asterisk, searchability is non-negotiable. Find all notes about latency complaints takes seconds, not hours. Version history prevents, wait, which doc is latest? Chaos. Shared access turns lists into team assets, not silos. In fast moving AI startups, where context shifts daily, this habit is how founders stay aligned, reduce repeat mistakes, and free mental RAM for thinking, not tracking. Your brain isn't storage, it's a processor. Treat it like one. If this shifted how you see lists, not as admin, but as leverage, please subscribe, like, and share with a builder who's ready to replace mental clutter with scalable clarity. Tap the bell icon so you never miss our latest videos on innovation, AI, and the quiet habits that shape extraordinary founders.